I'm going to be desensitizing Castor to the touch of the stick. So it's going to be a little bit desensitizing, a little bit of him targeting the stick. So I'm just going to start off by just touching him. And this video is a couple months after the last video. I was working a lot and also going to school, so I really didn't have a lot of time. He has moved over to a different pasture, and my other Mustang's on the other side, so he's in a different location. Um, and then it is important to kind of watch how he eats. I do speed it up, but it is important to kind of see where he is mentally and where he is like after each like little interaction with me. So he's looking pretty relaxed here. That first eating, like you can see he's kind of scooting that bowl away, like he's trying to leave a little bit. So I think he's definitely still conflicted, like he wants the food, but he also is not so super sure about me being that close to him. So he can move his here. He was moving his head kind of fast. He's still not super sure about seeing that stick touch him that far away. So he did start like targeting the stick, and he understands that. But now I'm trying to kind of touch his face, move down his neck, and I'm doing that on both sides. He is tipping his head away from me a little bit more, so that might be like a little bit of a calming signal, just trying to be like, I'm not, trying to do anything. He just kind of feels uncomfortable in the situation. So that's also important. They're trying to calm themselves and they're trying to calm me. So that's what those are for. But it's just kind of important to see how he interacts. See how his head's turned away here? He isn't he's not is super engaged. He's still kind of thinking away from me. So he is looking at the stick while I touch him with it here. He looks a little bit tense. I would like him to be more relaxed, but overall not too bad. So in these parts, like he pretty much reacted the same as I continued to feed him. So I just started cutting them out here because it got kind of old, made the video kind of long, but just doing the same process. So he's just eating for a couple minutes and then I'm going ahead and just starting again, kind of working my way down. Not bad. He's got one ear on the stick, one ear on me. That was pretty good. And he's got his head toward me. He's still staying connected with me there. And I'm gonna kind of move over to the other side here, do the same thing. That looks really good. Didn't love it. He doesn't love it on his forehead there. But everywhere else he's not too bad. And occasionally he'll still do that now. Like if you touch him on his forehead, his ears kind of go back a little bit, but it's just kind of occasional. So I'm just gonna move his bowl out of the way here. Go ahead and work on the other side. It's important that I don't get underneath him. I don't want to get under his legs or scare him or anything. I don't want to get hurt, so I was just using my stick. But that looks really nice. He just kind of laid his face against it. Now, this is like an older video once I voice over it, but I would have done a lot more allowing him to target the stick versus me touching him with it. So that is important. I just want to show the journey and kind of different things of that I would change. I think it's good to learn from. But he got a little spooked there. I'm not sure what. I think it might have went out of his field of vision, but then he ended really well. So bring it up kind of the same way. See if he wants to look at it, sniff it, and then I kind of go back up. And he's a little weird about his ears. He doesn't really like those being touched, but not too bad. That's pretty usual. I probably should have clicked and fed him there. He was kind of looking in his bucket. In the beginning, I want to reward very consistently, so he wants to continue to participate. That looks pretty good. He is pretty tense. You can see how he's kind of standing. His legs are splayed, so he could turn and run if he needed to. He kind of leans back a little bit too as I'm touching him, so I definitely should have worked on a bit more relaxation here. This looks pretty good. I don't like his stance, but his head and neck was a lot more relaxed than that previous clip. So same here, like when he picked up his head from the bowl, like see how his neck's just parallel? That's really nice. Let him explore the stick underneath his chin. He's not bringing his neck up and holding into that tension, so that looks really good. And I'm just touching under his chin because I want to do some desensitizing for when we do a lot of haltering. So that's also important. I'm just using the stick here as just an extension of my arm. I just don't want to get super close, and I also want to get him used to the stick. I want him to target it, follow it, not be afraid of it. So just doing two things at once, basically. So a little bit of a head turn here. That's important to pay attention to. But it was also important to give him a minute to chew. See here, he's like, I'm not sure. And he had been doing pretty well with it, so I'm not super sure why he decided he doesn't like it now. I should have taken it away and not just kept it in his face. Just take a step back, give him a second, and then try again versus just leaving it. He does come around. I should have again backed up there. So when he did bring his head to me, I should have just backed up and been like, oh, that's awesome, because that's exactly what I was looking for. So, but I kept going. So this isn't bad. He's looking, but he is tense. He's raising his head. He's looking at me intently. He's not getting a reward. So I'm not communicating super effectively right here. This looks better. I like that his head's turned toward me. That looked really good. I like how he came out of the bowl there. Again, his neck's nice and relaxed. So we do a little bit of me touching him with my hands and we end on that and that looks really, really nice.